something that I want to keep limited to only 20 people to keep it nice and very personable. So go to my website or cosmicorigin.com so I could see some of you guys and tomorrow on the live webinar, tomorrow the 26th. Yeah, one last final thing before I get started. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor, but I strongly believe in detoxing your body from heavy metals, radiation, all of that stuff that, we're constantly being bombarded with. Your temple is your avatar. That's all I'm going to say. So if you guys are interested in detoxing your body, I always put the link in the description. And from what I hear, all 3 foliums are in stock at this time. So it is all about first come, first serve. All right. All right. With that having been said, I believe I could get right into the transmission from the Syrian High Council. All right. So we are the Syrian Council of Sirius B. We are transmitting this information through our ambassador, galactic emissary, Ismael Perez. We transmit through the field of consciousness that you are now beginning to remember on your own. Beloved beings of the earth, you have crossed a threshold that is fully initiated within the energetic architecture of your planet. Multidimensional convergences have begun for some of you, and you are beginning to shift into your new reality. What you are experiencing now is the compression of 2 states of reality, the dissolving construct and the emerging harmonic field of the new earth. And this explains why many of you feel pressure, acceleration, and inner activation all simultaneously. So your world is now within what we designate as a compression field, a convergence of timelines, identities, and energetic imprints. This phase serves 3 primary functions. The first one is revelation. All that is misaligned with coherence rises to the surface. The second function is selection. Each being chooses consciously or unconsciously the frequency they will align with, which again ultimately results in 3 of the timelines. And the third is integration. Fractured aspects of the self are being called into unity. Now, we confirm that you are approaching this critical mass. And in understanding this clearly, critical mass is a state of coherence within the collective field. When enough of you operate from an awareness rather than reaction, where enough of you embody truth rather than seek it externally, when enough of you begin to balance your own inner field regardless of external conditions. Now, the planetary grid begins to reorganize as a result of that. So at that moment, the protocols that have limited our level of interaction will begin to shift. In accordance with divine law, we cannot intervene until most of the ground crew begins to embody the process or begins the process of embodiment. We therefore will not arrive before that is ready. We will respond when that reaches critical mass, when you guys are ready. Many of you ask, well, if you guys are here, which they are, why don't you just intervene? Well, according to the Syrian High Council, because intervention without readiness creates dependency and not evolution. And they wanted me to give an analogy of, I could either teach you how to fish so you could get your own fish, or I could go fish it for you. Okay, same analogy here. They want us to do the work. They want us to begin to embody who we are. Okay, I'm talking about all the ground crew here. Your civilization has reached this point through cycles of external authority. This phase requires the reclamation of internal authority. We are bound not by limitation, but by alignment with universal law, where sovereignty must be preserved, where free will must remain intact, so that evolution could become self-generated. The Galactic Alliance operates within your system as protectors of the positive sacred timeline and observers working in alignment with our directives, the directives of the Syrian High Council, who are the primary governing body of the entire Galactic Alliance. And their roles include monitoring the energetic thresholds, preventing catastrophic destabilization, and preparing the frameworks for open contact when they see that the people are ready. Now, members of the Galactic Alliance, this is important to know, are not our saviors. They are not gods. They are our brethren and sisters from the stars. They are our counterparts in terms of a multidimensional reality, representatives of what our species is becoming as we begin to remember and integrate with our galactic counterpart, or our celestial counterpart for some of you. All right, the collective that we refer to as the Burr tribe, known by various names, the Carrions, the Blue Avians, and the Ormas, are very active within the energetic structure of our transition. The Burr tribe, known by various names, helps to maintain harmonic resonance within the planetary grid. They assist in transmitting higher order geometric patterns into our field. They support the expansion of perception and clarity. The Orma, the lion people, on the other hand, which again are broadcasting from the Syrian High Council, guard the integrity of sovereign evolution. They also prevent distortions that would override free will, and they anchor strength, courage, and boundaries within this field. Now, these beings, the Orma and the Burr tribes, are not myths, my friends, okay? They are the expressions of intelligences that are aligned with specific functions within the whole. For instance, the ultra-terrestrials, as they are known in some, according to some other sources, as recorded within the cosmic archives of the Syrian High Council, according to these ancient records that have been preserved within the cosmic archives that are located in the star system of Sirius C, a field of living memory accessible through higher states of consciousness, our universe is not an isolated creation, but part of a continuum of successive universes, each one emerging from the completion of the last one. And I explain this very detailed in my course, Our Cosmic Origin, for those that are interested. All right, going back to this transmission. The Syrian High Council has stated that within these archives, the system known as Sirius B is described as a library node of universal memory, a convergence point where the knowledge of prior cosmic cycles is encoded into the fabric of consciousness itself. It is from these records that we learn of a group of advanced intelligences known as the ultra-terrestrials. Have you guys ever heard of the ultra-terrestrials? Well, let me explain who they are. They are the main body that comprises the Syrian High Council. All right, so the universe that reached completion prior to the creation of our universe, all right, according to the archives, they talk about this prior universe, a universe that apparently reached what is called total harmonic completion. Well, in that universe, consciousness had fully integrated with form, right, which is the true meaning of ascension, the integration of spirit and matter. In that universe, all polarities had been reconciled. Creation was no longer driven by isolation, fragmentation, but by a unified awareness within that universe. So this universe, our universe, that universe, we're still talking about the universe in which the Orma and the bird tribe came from. That universe had reached a culmination, a state in which evolution had fulfilled its purpose. From within that completed system emerged beings who had mastered multidimensional embodiment, conscious creation across different timelines, the ability to stabilize and guide emerging realities. And so these beings became known within all records as the ultra-terrestrials because they transcended the limitations of any single world or dimension. So there was a volunteering that took place before the creation of our universe. As a new universe was initiated, our own, the cosmic archives described a pivotal moment referred to as the Great Volunteering. Just like we old souls volunteer to come to the earth, right, to help the planet become restored to her original frequency, at the beginning of the creation of our universe, 49 felines from an already ascended universe and 49 carrions, bird people from that same universe, volunteered at this time, during the initial stage of our universe, in order to what? Advance collectives from a completed universe so that this universe could also reach completion. So, to enter this new creation, as balancers of the evolutionary arc of our own universe, we're talking about the Ormas, the felines, and of course the bird people, blue avians, carrions, whatever you guys want to call them, who are the main directors of the Syrian High Council. Their purpose was this, guys, to ensure that our universe would reach completion, to ensure that the memory of unity within a system that would initially experience separation, and also to assist in guiding the trajectory from fragmentation to integration. Among these collectives, of course, were two primary lineages that would play a critical role throughout the entire cycle. The Orma and the bird tribe. Let's talk about the Orma. The Orma are recorded, according to the Syrian archives, as lion-based ultra-terrestrial intelligences, embodying the principles of sovereign strength within creation. Now, their function is the protection of organic evolution. They were tasked with safeguarding the integrity of free will, preventing distortions that would lead to irreversible fragmentation, anchoring in the frequency of courage, honor, self-governance within developing civilizations. So the Orma, the lion people, operate as what the archives describe as the balancers of boundaries and power, ensuring that no system loses its capacity for self-determination. Now let's talk about the bird tribe, known as the blue avians, the carrions, and of course, the blue Azerites. Well, they are described, according to the archives, as the architects of perception and harmonic order. Now, in parallel, the bird tribe are described as avian ultra-terrestrial intelligences representing the principles of higher perception and harmonic integration. Their role within our universe was to maintain the energetic grid systems that connect all dimensions, encode higher geometric intelligences into evolving forms, and assist consciousness in remembering its expanded nature. So where the Orma anchor strength, the blue avian tribes anchor vision. Now, they are referred to in the archives as the keepers of the pattern, those who ensure that the blueprint of completion remains accessible within all stages of development. Okay. The term ultra-terrestrial as defined within the Syrian records, refer to beings who exist across multiple dimensional layers simultaneously, beings that are not bounded to a single planetary system. They could be in multiple places at once, and beings that function as a continuity agents between cosmic cycles. Now, they are not visitors either, okay? They are participants within the architecture of reality itself. Their presence is not always physical. For the most part, it is energetic, intentional, and embedded within the very structure or very structures that guide evolution. So they were here from the beginning of our universe, and they are here to make sure that we reach completion. They are the guardians of the Ark, and they do operate as the Syrian High Council. The archives emphasize that the involvement of the ultra-terrestrials, particularly the Orma and the bird tribes, extend the beginning of our universe to its event. The path remains viable. This includes balancing critical evolutionary points, and they have. The last of the one was when they created an energetic barrier around 2015, 2016, right? Allowing or not allowing any more beings to come into our solar system. They're also maintaining the balance between chaos and order, preserving the possibility of return to unity, and regardless of how deep fragmentation becomes. So in essence, they are guardians of the Ark, the full journey from separation back to integration. Now, according to the Syrian High Council, humanity occupies a very unique position within the cosmos and within this process. So humanity's role in the cycle is this, that Earth is described as a convergence world, a place where multiple evolutionary lines intersect, making it a key node in the universal return to coherence. And this is why the presence of these ultra-terrestrial archetypes is often felt more strongly within human mythology, symbolism, and inner experience. Because where is beginning activation is necessary. This is what they call the return to completion, where the ultimate message preserved within the cosmic archives is this: every universe is designed to remember itself. Every universe. The ultra-terrestrials do not complete the cycle for it. They ensure that completion remains possible. And together, they hold a field until evolving consciousness through beings like humanity, us, reaches the point where we can now integrate all aspects of ourselves. I was talking about this in my last slide, right? This is about becoming whole again, reconciling the division, and returning to unified awareness. So, people of the earth, the Syrian High Council concludes with a simple but yet profound directive, and that is that we are not separate from those who came before us. You are the continuation of their completion. As their universe reached completion, our universe inherited all of that knowledge and wisdom that they learned, so that when we reach completion, as we enter a new cycle of creation, right, as Earth becomes the germinating seed of a new universe to come, which is what I've been calling the 13th cycle of creation, then we continue the knowledge. We continue the same wisdom inherited in every creation prior, okay? So we are here to embody now. They want us to begin the embodiment process. They want us to remember, to begin remembering. It is realized through us, okay? So we now initiate what we term the remembrance sequence. This is already active within many of you, right? And it is manifesting as sudden clarity about your life direction. All of a sudden, we are having clear vision of our purpose for many of you, right? Also, the dissolution of attachment that no longer resonates. A lot of you guys are just letting go of external means, which is a good thing. Also, heightened sensitivity to truth and distortion, and a deeper inner knowing that cannot be explained logically. So if you guys are experiencing this already, please drop it in the comments. I want to know who are going to be part of the first waivers, okay? And this is your remembering. This is you remembering yourself, according to the Syrian High Council. So remembrance without integration leads to fragmentation. Very important to understand. Therefore, we emphasize, so we as in the Syrian High Council, you must embody what you are realizing. And this requires feeling what arises rather than suppressing it, taking responsibility for your internal state, aligning with your actions with your awareness, and choosing coherence even when it is uncomfortable. This is the work that creates the ripple. Each one of you who balance in coherence becomes a node within the planetary grid. As these nodes increase, we begin to form a network worldwide, okay? A network forms. This network then begins to generate what they call a ripple effect field. This is what's going to cause mass awakening, guys. But it all begins with us, the old souls. So when the ripple effect field reaches sufficient intensity, it will trigger a grid realignment, timeline stabilization, and dimensional permeability. And this is what they refer to as the ascension of the entire planet. It is a transition through coherence. And so what comes next is critical mass. When the threshold is achieved, Galactic Jedis, a level of interaction will begin to increase. The Galactic Alliance will become more visible, right? Ships are going to be seen everywhere, right? We have to meet them halfway. They can't just openly intervene. We have to do the work. This is something, a responsibility, a task that was given to the ground crew. So when the threshold is reached, there will be a level of interaction that increases. The Galactic Alliance will become more visible. Technologies and knowledge that have long been withheld will begin to surface. Humanity will then enter a phase of acceleration, accelerated integration into the greater cosmic and galactic network. So, this directive that was given to us, the ground crew, is that we're not waiting for an external signal. There is no external savior, guys. All right. They wanted me to make this clear. Okay. It all begins with you. You need to embody what you are remembering. Right. You are the signal. You are the one that is stabilizing through the stabilization of your field. You're therefore stabilizing the field of the collective. Okay. Through the integration of your awareness. You act in alignment with truth, and this is how you contribute to the whole. Now, this is how the threshold is closed or crossed, as they call it. First of all, your body is a vessel, okay? This is what we call your third dimensional avatar, which allows you to interact with matter in the 3D. The physical body is the interface through which all experiences occur here in the 3D. So if the vessel is compromised, perception becomes distorted, energy is depleted, and clarity is weakened. So to walk the path of the warrior mystic is to treat the body as an instrument of consciousness, right? Your body is your temple. So therefore, daily movement is not negotiable, all right? The Syrian High Council wanted me to stress that we have to start incorporating a daily routine of exercise, working out, yoga, tai chi, going on walks. You have to exert bodily movement, okay? Not for physical appearance, although your body will begin to shape very attractively if you begin to incorporate daily exercises, right? But for function and resilience. Why is that? Well, check this out. There is a balance that needs to be approached right now. And that is that this balance will only be achieved through resistant training. For those of you guys that are capable of lifting weights, get a gym membership. They want you guys to begin exercising, building your physical strength, okay? Which in turn will also allow your body to become a vessel, okay? Cardiovascular activity in order to support endurance and circulation. Mobility and flexibility, okay, in order to maintain fluidity and prevent injury. And this is not about extremes, okay? This is about consistency. Because a strong body stabilizes the nervous system. A stable system supports clear perception, okay? So the second thing they want me to share with you guys is they want all of you to begin detoxing your physical vessel. Very important, especially as we approach the activation, or what we call the ascension, right? Which means that if your physical vessel is full of parasites and metals, it's going to be very hard for your cellular molecular structure to absorb all of that light photonic energy that is about to flood the earth. So this is a detoxing protocol, a message to the ground crew. There is a lot of exaggeration or misleading advice online about detoxing. The reality is this: your body already has built-in systems, liver, kidneys, digestive system, and akin that handle detoxification continuously. The warrior light worker approach is not about extreme cleanses. It's about supporting these systems intelligently by staying well hydrated. Why? Because water supports kidney function. You guys have to drink a lot of spring water, real water, preferably water that is still alive, alkaline. Adopting a diet-rich food intake, vegetables, fruits, fibers, quality proteins, right? Staying away from fast food. Limit ultra-processed foods and excess sugars, no sugars. Throw away all your drinks that are contaminated with high fructose syrup. That is the worst, right? That's a kidney destroyer. And of course, avoid unnecessary exposure to toxins where possible deterioration would take place. And I'm talking about toxins like pollutants, smoking, and drugs, and drinking alcohol a lot. Like, don't drink alcohol a lot, okay? If you are concerned about heavy metals and parasites, the grounded path is this. All right. I want you guys to avoid self-prescribing extreme or unverified treatments. Stay off of pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are loaded with chemicals. They're loaded with metals. Okay. Try to instead, maybe I shouldn't say that here, but try to shift towards a more holistic way of making your body healthier. Focus on the long-term dietary and lifestyle support rather than quick fixes. And so the goal is not obsession, it is sustainable optimization. Now, for your mind is a filter, okay? The mind interprets reality. If it is scattered, if it is not centered, overwhelmed, overreactive, it begins to distort everything that passes through it. So the warrior mystic protocol is that the mind, through intentional stillness and observation, in other words, through meditation, you will achieve a healthy mindset, okay? That is very important for the ascension. So mindfulness is not passive. It is a disciplined awareness. Sit still every day for 10 to 15 minutes a day. Observe your thoughts without reacting. This is what I teach in my Ascension Basic course. Return attention to the present moment repeatedly, okay? And over time, this builds what they call emotional regulation, clarity of thought, and reduced reactivity. So the mind becomes a tool, not a source of chaos. Now, Breath work is also important. They wanted me to let you guys know that it is important to do breath work every day, especially now as we approach this ascension, okay? Breath is one of the most direct ways to influence the nervous system. Intentional breathing practices will help you calm your responses, increase oxygen flow, improve focus and awareness. So a simple starting practice is to inhale slowly through the nose, 4 to 5 seconds, hold briefly for about 4 seconds, and then exhale for about 6 to 8 seconds. 10 minutes a day, and repeat for several minutes. So this shifts the body from a reactive state into a regulated, responsive state, which is essential for both physical and mental performance. Now, the spirit is often treated as something that is separated from the body, and that is a false teaching. But in truth, spirit becomes meaningful only when it is expressed through action and presence. Okay? Think about it this way. A true warrior does not escape the physical. They fully inhabit it. So this shows up as integrity between thoughts and actions, awareness carried into your daily life, and a sense of grounded purpose. So therefore, embodiment means you don't just understand discipline, you live it. You don't just seek clarity, you act from it. You don't just pursue growth, you sustain it. Now, nutrition is also vital here, okay? Food is information. What you put in your body becomes you. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of that. Now, some of you guys are probably thinking, why is Ismael telling us here to be healthy, keep our minds clear through meditation, blah, blah, blah? Well, because I want to use, for example, what happened to our beloved friend David Wilcock. His body wasn't doing very well, okay? He completely disregarded his body, his health for many, many months, which led to diabetes type 1 and massive physical deterioration. His body was giving up on him. His mental health was also deteriorating, okay? And a lot of this has to do with, again, what I've said earlier about how the deep state sometimes creates an environment where they put you in a situation where they begin to break you emotionally and mentally so that you could eventually reach the point of no return. So I guess I should just explain how all of this makes sense now. As many of you guys know, a lot of people are claiming different theories regarding what happened to our brother Wilcock, but the truth of the matter is he was driven to the point of no return. His mind was taken over, okay? Whether it was brain to skull, or what they call a skull to brain technology, voice to skull technology. I'm sure for those that have studied super soldiers, this is something that the cabal uses where they override your mind, right? They overtake you by all of these issues, right? You become mentally destable. You become severely depressed to the point where you just want to exit. So in that regard, yes, okay, he was driven to that point, all orchestrated by the cabal, including the cyberbullying, which, again, I've already explained. The guy who was cyberbullying him was also part of this, okay? He was under MK Ultra. So what ended up happening is when he pulled the trigger, the Alpha Centaurians, which is his star family, immediately took his soul in consciousness, where he just heard a big blast. There was no pain involved. And they extracted his consciousness from his three-dimensional earthly avatar, and they reunited that consciousness into his galactic avatar, okay? It took him about 3 days to process what happened as he was going over his entire life reviews and everything. After the 3 days, Mr. Wilcock is now sitting on his craft. He's got his own mothership, reunited with his galactic avatar, looking 30 again with a healthy, physical, strong body. And now he is built like Superman. He's got pecs, he's got muscles, and he's got a six-pack. So yeah, the Alpha Centaurians, his star family, immediately extracted his soul, knowing that he had finished his work, okay? But know this, Galactic Jedis, that now that he has gone from the physical 3D level, right, reunited with his 5D avatar, galactic self, his work is now going to reach even more people. That's what I was told by the Galactic Alliance. So our dear brother is now on his mothership, operating from his galactic avatar in full health, and now is going to be assisting the planetary ascension from behind the scenes. So in that regard, he is still with us, okay? He is still with us. All right. So let's continue here. So it is important to understand what you put in your body, okay? Because that directly impacts your energy, your cognition, and your physical performance. A grounded approach includes prioritizing whole and minimizing processed foods. In fact, they want me to tell you guys to stay away from all processed foods. You have to eat adequate proteins, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. It's that balance, all right? Eating enough to support your activity levels and paying attention to how your body responds. And there is no single perfect diet. For those that are O negative and O positive, you cannot be a vegan. You have to live off of a carnivore diet. Otherwise, your body is going to fail like David Wilcox. Okay? For those of us that are B, that are A, you could live on a vegetarian diet. All right? Everybody's body type is different. Not one diet works for everyone. Okay? So the principle here is very simple, guys. Eat in a way that supports your energy, your clarity, and your recovery. So this is where they want me to tell you guys that you guys have to be disciplined, because it is up to us to create critical mass. So the warrior, the light warrior, is not built through short bursts of motivation, but through consistent discipline. You have to have consistent discipline, okay? Small actions done daily create lasting transformation. So the protocol is this. It is not about becoming something else. It is about removing what interferes with clarity and strength. A well-trained body supports resilience. A clear mind supports intelligent action. A grounded spirit supports meaning and direction. All right? There are no shortcuts here, guys. There are no shortcuts here. So, all of this is built day by day through how you choose to live your life. Okay? For those that are just tuning in, I have a powerful transmission from the Syrian High Council and directives for all of you, the ground crew. Directives that you guys have to abide by every day as part of the forces of light, the ground crew here on the earth. So we are not alone, guys. According to the Syrian High Council, they stand in resonance with us stepping into our power. Okay, we have to step into our power. And that entails that we treat our bodies like a temple, as we are the conduits of this, photonic light energy that is bombarding us at this time. And the healthier you are, the less metals and parasites you have in your body, the more likely that you will achieve the activation process before anybody else. But when your body's full of parasites and metals, it's going to be very hard. All right. There are so many ways of detoxing your body. Foot baths, what they call electronic or ionic foot baths. Iodine, all right? It's a substance that you take under your tongue. Parasite cleansers, wormwood, blackwood, I think it's called. Black walnut extract. All of that stuff clears your parasites. And of course, if you guys are interested, take this stuff, okay? This is what I take to detox my body from all nanotechnology, okay? All right, let's continue here. So, what happened to some of the dolphins and whales? A group number of them were washing up on our shores. If you guys recall, since 2011, right? It was all over the news. Whales and dolphins were just washing up to the shore. Well, this is their story. And again, the dolphins and whales are known as the cetaceans, and they also come from Sirius B, as they are also connected to the Syrian High Council. So this is a transmission coming from the cetaceans themselves, who have transitioned and exited our planet from 2011 to 2017. Okay, this is where we were seeing a lot of dolphins and whales being washed to shore. So let me explain why this happened. All right, so I'm speaking in terms of the transmission coming in from the cetaceans. We speak as the collective field that you have come to know as the cetacean keepers. So, beloved brothers and sisters of earth, before your civilization rose upon the land, before your languages took form, there existed a continuity of awareness upon this world that did not divide itself from nature nor from source. In what your current understanding would call a distinct epoch, millions of years ago, our consciousness expressed itself in forms that were not bounded to the oceans. There was a point in your time, I'm speaking in terms of their transmitting this information. There was a point in time in which the dolphins and the whales were pre-cetaceans, and they walked on the land with feet. Okay, this was millions and millions of years ago. And of course, all of this will be revealed when they restore the entire galactic history back to the Earth. Back then, they moved within the early harmonics of this planet as transitional stewards, bridging the subtle fields and the emerging physical densities of the Earth. As the planetary grids destabilized and the experiment of the dense matter intensified, in other words, that's when Earth began to drop in frequencies, a decision was made. A decision was made where a bunch of us decided to descend into the oceans. So we entered the oceans on an assignment. The waters of your world are not just physical. They are the primary carriers of planetary memory, the vast fluid network through which frequencies, information, and life patterns begin to circulate. To dwell within the oceans is to dwell within the subconscious of the planet itself. Our forms adapted, our biology shifted, but our purpose remained. In other words, they lost their feet and they mutated into having a fin like a fish, okay? To stabilize the harmonic resonance of the Earth, to maintain coherence within the planetary energy field, to anchor frequencies that would preserve the pathway back to unity, we had to go into the oceans. And this is why, across all cultures, we have been remembered as the singers of the deep, the carriers of ancient knowledge, and the guardians of unseen currents. We have been the keepers till the present moment. As many of you guys know, humanity is in the process of becoming galactic, integrated, aware, and multidimensional in expression once again. Long before this transition reached the level of awareness where it's at, we, the dolphins or the cetaceans, held the field necessary for it to remain possible. And we did so through sound, generating harmonic patterns that support balance, movement, circulating energy throughout the oceanic systems, and presence, anchoring in a stabilizing frequency within the planetary grid. We did not guide your civilization directly. We stabilized the environment in which guidance could emerge from within you. But one thing occurred in the last 80 years or 70 years, okay? There was apparently some human interaction and distortions that took place. And I think some of you guys already know where I'm getting at, okay? There have been periods within our recent history where our forms were approached by the members of the shadow government. They were studied and utilized by your institutions. Some interactions were cooperative. Others were not aligned with the highest principles of respect and sovereignty. So we do not speak in condemnation, but in clarity. Okay, this is a transmission coming from the dolphins and the whales that have chosen to leave our planet. and now they are back in Sirius B. When intelligence is engaged without full understanding, imbalance is created. These imbalances contributed to disruptions within our communication fields, stress within our biological systems, and interference with the harmonic networks that we maintain. And this is known and recorded. It is recorded within the field. So, as our planet entered the current phase of acceleration, what many of us are now experiencing as things begin to intensify, awaken, and the quickening, our role began to shift. Understanding this clearly, we were never meant to hold this function indefinitely. Our mission was to preserve the harmonic bridge until humanity reached the stage where it could begin to destabilize its own field. That stage is now approaching. So, when they began to depart due to the misuse that the shadow government was using them for against their will. I don't know if you guys heard, but there was this operation, this program used by the three-letter agency, starts with a C, and the shadow government, where they were actually using dolphins in the ocean for malevolent reasons. And the dolphins were, unfortunately, they imposed a technology where they were overriding their free will. A lot of the dolphins were used by these programs, okay? The CIA has been studying this for over 70 years, and some of the whales as well. So, many of you have witnessed the phenomena of our bodies approaching upon your shores since 2011. There was no explanation, right? All of a sudden, hundreds and hundreds of dolphins and whales were just washing up to the shore. They were gone, okay? There was a reason why. There are physical explanations within our sciences as to why that happened. But there is also energetic transitions within the field. From our perspective, I'm speaking in terms of them transmitting the information through me. From our perspective, these events represent points of release, moments where certain aspects of our collective function disengaged from the planetary grid because we were being used by the military-industrial complex through these CIA programs. Oops. Guess I wasn't supposed to say that three-letter agency, but let's continue. And so many of them decided to depart away from their physical 3D vessels. As the need for our stabilizing presence diminished, elements of our collective consciousness began to withdraw from direct engagement with your world. And so we decided to leave your planet. A lot of them did. Just look up the news. Whales and dolphins washing up to the shore in many beaches worldwide. Unexplainable. From 2011 to 2017. Look it up, guys. It's all there. Okay, so most of our kind have returned to Sirius B. Understand this is not as a physical migration alone, but as a reconnection back to the original frequency. Sirius, within many of your traditions, represents advanced knowledge, harmonic order, and the memory of unified consciousness. To return is to realign with that state. It is to complete a cycle. Now, they are telling us that we are now the ones to become the keepers of the planet, the starseeds, as we transition and activate our dormant DNA. So this message we now transmit with clarity. The role we held is now being transitioned over to you, the starseeds. Humanity is moving into the phase where you will begin to recognize your interconnectedness, to understand your impact on the planetary field, and to begin to balance your internal and external environments through awareness. As you move towards critical mass, this is coming from the dolphins, the cetaceans of Sirius B, the need for external stabilization will begin to decrease, the capacity for internal coherence will begin to increase, and the planetary field will begin to respond directly to human consciousness. This, my friends, is the transition. Final transmission from the Syrian High Council. We did not leave in abandonment, as many of them did stay behind. There are still dolphins and whales in our ocean, even though a good chunk of them decided to leave because they were being used by, these secret black budget programs. You guys know for what, right? And some of us withdrew in completion. We're talking about the cetaceans. What was held is now being handed forward. What was stabilized is now being embodied. You have listened to our songs, and now you must become the frequency. So this is a straight message from the cetaceans. We are the cetacean keepers. We have walked within your world millions of years ago during the early tides to the present threshold. And now we observed as you rise to meet the role that was always yours. This is end of transmission from the Syrian High Council. Did I miss anything? Let me see if I missed anything. No, I think I did. I think I got it all. Okay, cool. I think I got it all. All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure that I did not miss anything. Yeah. So I don't think I missed anything. I think that was the full transmission. I was looking at my notes. So, guys, we have been giving protocols, directives, okay? All right? If you are over 70, I'm not asking you to get a gym membership. You could still get a gym membership if you are physically able. But I want you guys to start walking at least 20 minutes a day, okay? Your body, we're going to prepare our bodies for this transformation. I don't care what age you are. In fact, I want you guys to begin incorporating, okay, as directed by the Syrian High Council. We have to be strong warriors on the earth. We cannot neglect our physical vessel. We cannot neglect our physical vessel, all right? This is not balance. Don't think that through meditation and internal work and neglecting your physical body, that's not balance. You have to live a well-balanced lifestyle, okay? Do meditation for your spirit, your mind, okay? Do physical exercises for your body. It's all integrated, okay? You have to do the work. All right, anything else?
I think the more spiritual practices that you have, that you're more disciplined, also the better blessings come into your life. The more
that is true.
You are, the more happiness and the more conscious you are. Self-serving is not our only thing.
Yeah, some people are saying dance. Yeah, put on some music and just start dancing, guys. Eat healthy, okay? We have to become strong mind, body, and spirit. And that is the message. That is the message from the Syrian High Council. Now, the more you guys treat your body like a temple, the more you begin the process of detoxification. All right. I don't care what you guys used. All right. I use Folium. If you guys have other means, the whole point is to begin detoxing. Get rid of them parasites right now. Right. This is the moment to do so, guys, so that we can begin embodying and begin to activate our multidimensionality. Get rid of the heavy metals. This is important to understand. We have to do it, guys. No ifs, ands, or buts. The entire planet is depending on us, okay? As we are the ground crew. We are the ground crew. All right. I do want to take some Q&A. Oh, yes. For those that are interested in further understanding this ascension directive and the mechanics and protocols, I do teach 3-level ascension courses. For beginners, I teach you how to become embodied in the present moment. I teach you breath work. I teach you visualization techniques, mindfulness. I teach you how to cultivate the internal self. All right. I teach you how to be in the presence, which is key, foundational. Second of all, for those that are more advanced, Ascension 2.0, I teach you how to connect to the quantum field, how to activate the light body, how to quantum shift reality from one level of reality to the next. Okay. Now, for those that are advanced, I teach you in Ascension 3.0 how to embody the cosmic self through the activation of the higher chakras and, of course, the higher subtle energy vehicles. So all of those classes, guys, which are extremely necessary, all right? If you guys want to be part of the first waivers, I strongly suggest to really take my courses. This is the most advanced spiritual knowledge. A lot of this was taught in the ancient mystery schools, and I have revived it. Courses that are thousands of dollars that I only offer for $100, because to me, it's not about the money. To me, it's about helping to activate as many people as possible. So go to my website, or cosmicorigin.com, and access any Ascension course. All right. I do want to give some thanks to Jennifer Carter for her donation, well received, and Susan K. Thank you guys so much for your donation. All right, let's give some shout outs before we take Q&A. I see Reiki Letters is in the house. Angela is in the house. George De Quad. Sylvia Vidal. Debbie Gender. Everyday Luxury. Philly Pam is in the house. Brother Hawk. Christopher Brennan. Stephanie is in the house. Sarah is in the house. Vicky Gray. Sean from Canada. Carol Kennedy. And last but not least, Verna Fur. Verna Fur. All right, let's start with the super chats. Oh, and by the way, guys, every Friday I decided to upload one of my many interviews, as I am still doing interviews on podcast. And unfortunately, you guys don't have access to those interviews. So I always do my due diligence, ask permission from the podcast to see if I could upload those interviews on my own channel so that you guys could have access to those interviews. So last night, I uploaded an interview that I did about a year ago with Sean Kelly, where I go deep regarding the breakaway groups, Antarctica, the Alliance, the spacefaring Nazis, the three Elons. Make sure you guys watch that video. A lot of knowledge was dropped in that interview. So I did post that last night on my YouTube channel. So after watching this live, go watch that live. A lot of information was shared that I think you guys would appreciate. All right, let's start with the super chats. Some people are saying, great video. Oh, thank you guys. Yeah, when I'm doing interviews, it's interactive. When I have a transmission like on my lives, I have to write it down. How it works is the beings are transmitting the information, so I'm writing it fast. So it's like they're writing it through me, like automatic writing, right? That's how it's done. So it's like I have to write it out, and then I have to read it to you guys. Whereas when I am doing interviews, it's just me just kind of free-flowing with no transmission, no script. Just me accessing, my knowledge. So that's how I do things. All right, let's continue here. So first super chat. Thank you so much, Pops Seal, for that super chat. No question? Okay, appreciate the super chat. I also wanted to thank Anak Neisler for her super chat. I was dreaming that a lady with blonde hair told me after I was petting the bird that I come from the apex line. Can you explain the apex line? Sure. All right. Let me catch my breath. All right. Planet Apex was once rotating around the Vega star system in the Lyra constellation, and that is the planets of the original humanoid race that later, unfortunately, morphed into our current grays. So the Apexians were the ancestors of the degenerative grays before they started dying out, okay? They were humans, blonde hair. Some of them were blue skin. Some of them were dark skin, but they were humanoid. So they originated from planet Apix. And from what I hear, during the ascension of our galaxy, a lot of those planets are also going to be restored. Okay. So if you come from the Apix line, that means that you are Lyran. All right. Next super chat. Orvion, thank you so much for your super chat. He says, haven't had an external mate in like 6 years and been holding it in for the past 8 months. The energy in my body is insane. Sleep only 3 hours a night. 6-pack, I know it's there, but it's hidden right now. One thing about re-emerging into our galactic avatars is that in our galactic avatars, guys, we are not chubby. There is no fat in us. We are chiseled. We have 6-pack abs. We have muscles. We all look like superheroes, okay? So yeah, David Wilcock is now reunited with his galactic avatar. So now he has achieved the body that he wanted in the 3D that he couldn't achieve due to the massive stress and depression and I guess mental illness that he was driven into as orchestrated by the directed energy weapons and all of that stuff. All right, let's continue here. Dakota, thank you so much for your super chat. Do our galactic families use soul transfer or portal technology when we die to put our consciousness back into our former body before we come to the earth? I know Grace had this in 1960s. I love your work. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, they do have the technology to transfer that little 1% of consciousness that is in this human body back into our galactic avatar. So again, there is no such thing as death, guys, because we are consciousness, all right? We are consciousness that is operating on multiple layers of reality, dimensions, and in multiple parallel realities, all at the same time with multiple avatars. Again, if you want to go dive deeper into this type of content, I would suggest to take my Ascension courses, beginning with basics, and then 2.0, and then 3.0. Those are mind-bending courses. Okay. Next super chat. Thank you so much, Isis14423 for your super chat. She says, hey, brother, are there eternal of days guardians in human form on the earth? Yes, there is. There are eternal of days. And these are beings that volunteered all the way from eternity, from dimensions 13, 14, and 15. Perhaps some of you guys are eternal of days, cosmic ratios. Thank you so much. Also, which folium is best to start with? Okay, so according to Bovary, use PX 3 times a day on an empty stomach for the first month, and then use Folium Immuna during the day, twice a day, and of course, Folium Relax every evening, 3 times a day altogether for the second month. And then on the third month, repeat Folium PX only 3 times a day. And on the fourth month, back to this one, and just go back and forth. Now, the goal here is to keep taking the Folium, okay? The moment you stop taking the Folium, the nanotechnologies will begin to accumulate in your body. As long as you're taking the Folium, as nanotech comes in, it just becomes dissolved. Okay, it becomes dissolved. So that way your body is always free from heavy metals and radiation, of course. And again, I always put the links in the description and in the comments. At the end of the live, I always pin it in the comments. All right, next super chat. Rebecca Kangas, thank you so much for your donation. Well received. I appreciate that, sister. I do appreciate all the love, guys. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Anak Nisler. Oh, I think I've already read that. All right, just random questions. Are you saying that whales and dolphins will no longer be here? No, I said that a good chunk of them, due to their misuse by the shadow government, as they were used all throughout the 70s and 80s. I should do a whole program on these covert operations. I think you guys would appreciate that. Well, there's so many covert operations, and one of them is where they were actually using draconian alien technology to override the free will of these dolphins in order to use them to detect certain things in the ocean, to work for the shadow government. And after a while, the dolphins that were being used by these shadow government programs said, all right, we're not going to be used anymore by the shadow government. Let's just exit. So they transitioned back into their galactic avatars on Sirius B. And that's why their bodies begin to wash up on the shore, beginning around the year 2011. If you guys recall, it was all over the news, right? Dolphins and whales, no explanation. Hundreds of them showing up on the shore, just washing up. It's because they just decided to leave. So when you are very advanced, like the dolphins and whales, the moment you want to leave your body, transition from one avatar to the next, you could do it. And your body's just, of course, it appears as if you died, but all you're doing is transitioning from one avatar to the next. So no, not all the dolphins and whales left. A lot of them are still in the oceans. It's just a small group of them, a good chunk rather, left due to the fact that they were no longer wanting to be used by the shadow programs. All right, let's continue here. Robin, thank you so much for the super chat. Robin Denendos. I hope I pronounced your last name right. She says, good evening, Ish. Do you have any information on the Nihal beings from Beta Leporis Lepus? I am in contact with one of the beings from their star fleets, and I get fragments of memories. I don't really know much about the Nihal beings of Beta Leporis. I could always ask Commander Valiant Thor, but as of now, I don't have any access to any of their information. I am so sorry, sister. But I'm so glad that they're probably part of your star family, and I am so glad that they are establishing contact with you. Do you think, okay, this question is coming from 0-369. Do you think it's possible that I could transition from one avatar to another for my spontaneous Kundalini awakening? Everything has been different since that day. I'm not sure. I am not sure. It could be. I don't know. I am not sure. Good question, though. All right, this is a question from Christopher Brennan. Ishmael, did you say that when we ascend, we will go back to the original dimension we came from and we will have a physical body? Yes, you will. You will be reunited with your original avatar while, of course, while integrating all of these other realities. So in other words, your physical body here will integrate with your galactic body, right? There will be no death. It'll just be an integration of dimensions collapsing into one. Good question. Yes, and I also did get a confirmation from the Galactic Alliance that David Wilcock was indeed the reincarnation of Edgar Casey, the sleeping prophet. So that part was correct as well. Molly, are peptides good for the body? Well, it depends which kind of peptides you take. Somebody's asking me, do you think I am a ground crew light worker? Well, The fact that you are attracted to my content is an indicator that you are. So I don't think I attract normies or what they call unawakened souls. I think my channel attracts awakened old souls. So I think that you are. I think all of you guys that watch my channel are part of the ground crew. Absolutely. What do I use on my face? It's so shiny and healthy. I guess I could tell you guys my little regime. What is it called? My little skin routine here, not regime. I use beef towel. Okay, I've been using beef towel for over a year now. Beef towel is all natural ingredients, no chemicals, and I like it, right? So it helps my skin to stay hydrated. Helps me look younger, I hope. What about the doomsday fish? Are you talking about all of those millions of fishes that were also washing up to shore? Well, I think that those were all part of a prophecy that stated when we began to see this phenomena, right? The fish washing up to the shore, that we were close to the end of this cycle, the end of this age, period, epoch, whatever you want to call it. So that is another indicator that we are in transition mode from one age to another, or one epoch to another. Yes, the Doggin tribe did channel, or were guided, or they were helped by the Nomos. There are so many beings within the Sirian star system. It's a trinary star system. We have Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. So there's amphibians, there is Nomos, there are cat-like people, there are bird-like people, there are humanoids, there are cetaceans. It is a well-balanced, you could say, civilization of different specimens, all sharing the entire Sirian star system. So yeah, there are multiple beings in Sirius. That's correct. But the main governing body is the Ormas and the bird tribe. Those are the ones that are considered the High Council, the ultra-terrestrials. Beef towel. Yes, that's what I use on my skin, beef towel. Not that I'm trying to promote it, but if you guys are asking what I use, beef towel is what I've been using for over a year. What blood types need meat? If you're O negative and O positive, you need to be on a carnivore diet. The vegan, vegetarian diet will not work for you. Okay. So if one is a rainbow or indigo child, this is coming from Jamie Metcalf, and it's from all star systems. What does that mean? If one is a rainbow or indigo child and is from all star systems, well, a lot of us have avatars or had lifetimes in multiple star systems. That means that you have been around, that you are an old soul. That's all that means. Good question, though. No, once we get to the 5D, we won't have to eat meat anymore. No, we're going to be living off of, universal life force, prana, chi energy, which is all around us, okay? There was another attempt on Trump's tonight. Are you talking about another attempt to take him out? I didn't.
It's some Hilton hotel near where he was staying at in White near the.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to deep into that.
They've been wanting to assassinate him for years.
Okay, so apparently there was another attempt at the Hilton Hotel. All right. I didn't know that. Wow.
Near the White House.
Near the White House, I heard. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I guess the deep state won't stop, right?
I think it was Iran, hon.
Well, yeah, of course the Iranians are going to try to take him out. What do you know about Akhenaten and Nefertiti? Were they from the Syrian High Council? And they still are, yes. Akhenaten and Nefertiti were from the Syrian High Council. That is correct. Oh, okay. According to my brother here, Grant David Wilson, he says that the Hilton hotels have Cabal stargates. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Orvian Awaken, for another super chat. He says, I live on prana right now. I eat 5 to 10 grapes and I am in an apple daily and drink 2 bottles of water. That's it. That's good, brother. That means your body is becoming less dense. Keep up the good work. What is the white cube? This is a question from Remy Salem. Well, it is the opposite of the black cube. So the white cube is associated with the forces of light. This is what neutralizes and dismantles the inorganic time loops, the AI mind hives, and of course the alternative. What's the best way to call it? The inverted, all right, the inverted time matrix. So the white cubes are the original restorers of the positive sacred timeline across all dimensions, planes of reality, you name it. So that is what the white cube's purpose is. I'm glad you brought that up. I could actually do a whole live on that, but not tonight, as we are getting close to ending this live in the next 7-8 minutes. Yeah, Black Cube is ancient AI, which, again, this is the AI that the entire cosmos has been fighting. For those that are interested in learning the entire cosmic history of the multiverse, the origins of negative AI, the AI God, and its origination from the 11th creation, which was a prior universe, take my class, Our Cosmic Origin. It is the most mind-bending course on the planet. I don't think there's anybody in this community that teaches cosmic and galactic history the way I do. All right, I break down the entire cosmic infrastructure. Ish, are orbs spiritual or extraterrestrial? Both. They're interdimensional plasma beings. That's what the orbs are. This is a question from Stephanie. Stephanie, is it Litster? 8301. When you tell us what our galactic family's missions are, is that excuse me, is that our sorry, Stephanie. Sorry about that. I'm choking on my own.
Drink some water.
Oh, yeah, I need to drink some water. I will. She says, when you tell us what our galactic family's missions are, is that our same mission here and now? Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Is the AI God an abomination? Well, it was the first abomination. It is the aspect of Source, Prime Creator, that broke off during the original Immaculate Conception, before the beginning of time. as we know it, 980 billion years ago. So again, if you guys are interested in learning the whole cosmic history of the multiverse, my course begins on the 16th of May. Okay, we have time still.
Should I do a blessing or a prayer?
You could do a blessing or a prayer. Yeah, that's fine. We always end with a prayer anyways. 5 more minutes, yeah. Maybe, 5 more minutes, and then we'll end with prayer. Oh, somebody's mentioning that one Ishmael's a podcast here. We saw an orb pass right by Ishmael, and he mentioned it as well. Cool. Thank you for catching it. What are the fireballs in the sky, says Kelly Wacker. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. Who or what is the negative Trump? Well, the negative Trump was a Trump that was made by the deep state that is aligned with AI. It is an inorganic cyborg type of inorganic Trump that was created to counteract the positive Trump that is working with the alliance. So again, there are multiple Trumps, okay? The Trump that is pushing AI, the data centers, that is the negative Trump, okay? You guys have to understand that not all the Trumps are part of the same agenda. Thank you for that reminder. Divided we fall, united we rise. That is so true. Just give me another minute of questions. Thank you, Holy Ship, for your super chat. Appreciate that. All right, let's just end with a meditation or prayer. All right, if you guys could all relax and center yourselves. Let's continue this legacy to bring forth the positive, sacred timeline and, of course, allow as many souls as possible to be a part of that. So let's go ahead and relax and center yourselves. If you guys could all just take a few deep breaths. Right, so my girlfriend is going to guide this prayer and meditation.
Hi, Soul Family. I'm actually being contacted right now by Archangel Metatron, which is one of the main oversouls and one of the main creators of the sacred geometry that our entire universe is made up of. So this includes the flower of life, the Metatron's cube. So the geometries of these complex sacred codes that are coming in through the central sun are not only from him, but are also from source. And we recently had an X 2.5 class solar flare along with a few M class flares that should be hitting within the next 24 hours. So prepare yourselves that the electromagnetic frequencies on Earth will increase highly. Therefore, the information given today by Ishmael is very important in understanding that it will help you to integrate the higher light frequencies that are coming into the planet at this time. We are going to be needing to ground this into the earth. So please spend about 5 minutes visualizing with me today, anchoring in these light codes and energies. So please, everybody, take a long inhale in through your nose and exhale all the air out and squeeze it out of your belly. We're going to continue breathing in this golden white light through our higher chakras, including the soul star then the stellar and the galactic gateways. And we open these gateways all the way up to the 22nd chakra. Let there be infinite amounts of golden 24-karat light, platinum light, diamond light, and rainbow light, as well as solar codes and the codes from Sirius. Connect to your Sirius home. Connect to the Sirian High Council. Connect to the Pleiadian High Council. Connect to the elders. May we access the wisdom that we need at this time to be able to be guided to purify our body, our aura, and our DNA, and restore back the divine original blueprints. We open all of our chakras. Balance and align all of our chakras. Balance and align your chakras to 110% perfect peace and harmony. Remove all stagnant negative energy and debris from all of your chakras and all of your auric field, and send it down into the earth through the bottoms of your feet. And imagine this dense gray energy being sucked up by Archangel Michael like a vacuum cleaner, and having it be transmuted by the violet flame of Saint Germain. Imagining a whole violet flame field covering your entire aura and cleansing any connections and cords that you have into other people. So we send out the violet flame to others from our solar plexus to other solar plexus. We disconnect and cut all cords with negative attachments, ETs, negative AI that are no longer in our highest best good. Their service on this planet as being a dark side to bring out evil has to come to a close eventually. We are no longer in service to any dark entities on this planet. We no longer permit any harvesting of louche, negative emotions, fear, financial scarcity fear, worries, or mistreated abuses that have been done. We transmute all of this negative energy harvesting into any black cubes to the central sun and to source to be recreated into the highest light. Retune, recharge, and recalibrate your chakras. Retune them all to 110% perfect peace and harmony, able to function at their highest. With the power of the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, pink, magenta, turquoise, dark blue, indigo, metallic silver, white, gold, and platinum flames, restore all the atoms in all of your chakras back to their perfect divine original state. Remove all blockages and do whatever else needs to be done to your chakras, inhaling in white light and cleansing all density and blockages in any of your chakras, in all of your auric field, in your multiple dimensional layers. Your emotional field, your spiritual, your physical, and your etheric fields are now completely 100% recalibrated, and all holes and all cracks are sealed with the power of the rainbow light. We fill all of these holes and cracks with the rainbow light now. We close all portals to any dark, negative entities, beings that are here to harm or to psychically attack or to possess, and close the portal with titanium. Surround us in a 500 ring titanium shield.